So you're learning Japanese and you want to actually start, making plans with people. Well, to do that, you absolutely have to know how to talk about dates. Today, we're going to break down the days of the week and the month so you can do it with total confidence. Let's get right into it.
All right, let me ask you something right off the bat. You probably know the numbers 1, 2, 3 are ichi, ni, san. So logically, how would you say the first, second, and third day of the month? Go ahead, take a guess.
If you guessed ichi-nichi, ni-nichi, san-nichi, well, that would make sense, but nope, that's not it. The first 10 days of the month completely break that pattern, and honestly, it's where a ton of people get stuck. But don't you worry, we are going to make this all make sense.
Okay, before we dive into the tricky part of the month, let's start with an easy win. Build up some momentum. The days of the week. This part is super consistent and follows a really, really simple pattern.
It's literally just a two-step formula. That's it. First, you just have to learn a unique little root sound for each day. And second, you just stick the same suffix, yobi, on the end of it, every single time. Simple as that.
So here are the 7 roots you got to memorize. These are your building blocks. Let's just say them together to get a feel for it. Ready? Getsu, ka, sui, moku, kin, do, nichi. Let's do it again, like a little chant. Getsu, ka, sui, moku, kin, do, nichi. Got it?
And here's the second half of that formula, the easy part. Yobi. It just means day of the week, and it's the bit you tack on at the end of every single root we just learned. It never changes.
And check it out, here's how it all clicks together. You take our root for Monday, getsu, and it becomes getsu yobi. For Tuesday, ka becomes kai yobi. Wednesday, sui becomes sui yobi. You see the pattern? It's perfect, it's predictable, it works every time.
Awesome. The week is down. Now let's level up and move on to the days of the month. And just like before, we're going to start with the main rule that, thankfully, covers most of the days.
Okay, so for most days in a month, the rule is wonderfully simple. You just take the normal Japanese number you already know and add the suffix nichi to the end. That nichi part just means day.
Let me show you what I mean. The number 11 is ju-ichi, right? So the 11th is just ju-ichinichi. The number 12 is ju-ni, so the 12th is ju-ninichi. See? This works for the vast majority of the month, which is fantastic news for us.
All right, now for the fun part. The exceptions. You knew they were coming. There are a handful of these special days that just use their own unique readings. But hey, once you get this little group down, you've pretty much mastered the entire Japanese calendar.
Let's start with the single biggest mix-up for learners, the 4th versus the 8th. Okay, listen really carefully. The 4th is yoka, short O sound, yoka. The 8th is yuka, long O sound, yuka. Hear the difference? Yoka, yuka. Getting that down is absolutely key. Now, here's the most important rule you need to remember about these exceptions. The entire first chunk of the month, from day 1 all the way to day 10, they are all special. None of them use that nichi rule we just learned.
Okay, so let's just run through them. The first is tsuitachi. Second, futsuka. Third, mika. There's the 4th, yoka. 5th is itsuka. 6th, muika. 7th is nanoka. The 8th is yoka. 9th is kokonoka. And the 10th is toka. I know, it's a list. This part is just straight up memorization.
But we do have a pretty cool trick for one of the tough ones. Look at the number 9. Doesn't it kind of look like a coconut on a tree? Well, just think of coconuts, kokonaka. It's a silly little mnemonic, but trust me, it really helps make it stick.
So besides those first 10, there are only 3 other special days to worry about. The 20th has its own completely unique name, Hatsuka. But look at the 14th and the 24th. See that? They just reuse yoka from the 4th. So it's juyoka and nijuyoka. You're just recycling a word you already know. So it's not as hard as it looks.
Okay, I know we've covered a ton of ground, so let's pull everything together into one final super handy tool. Think of this as your go-to cheat sheet for all those irregular days of the month.
Seriously, this is the slide to screenshot. It has every single special day we talked about all in one convenient spot, the first 10 plus the 14th, 20th, and 24th. For any other day of the month, you just add nichi to the number. This table right here is your key to the whole system.
You know, the only way any of this is really going to stick is if you start using it right now. So grab a calendar, find your birthday, a holiday, today's date, whatever. So my question to you is, what date are you going to practice first? Thanks for sticking with me, and get practicing.